Now let us move on into module 2, this workshop proper, starting with chapter 17. Now let me ask you a provocative question. What if the best leader is the one you don't even notice? Sounds strange, right? We have been conditioned to believe that leadership must be someone loud, someone visible, someone charismatic, and someone maybe even dominating, like Trump. Okay, but Lao Tzu turned this belief upside down. In chapter 17, he introduces a radical idea. The highest form of leadership is invisible. So if he's asking, Master, why best leader is so subtle? I'm about to ask. Yeah, hear me. Tao is going to explain that. Lao is going to explain that in this module, chapter 17. So hold your thoughts, follow me. So subtle, so effortless that people don't even realize they are being led. And when success comes, the people will say, hey, we did it ourselves, Now, pause for a moment. How much of your identity depends on being seen, depends on being acknowledged, and depends on being credited? Lao Tzu invite us to shift from the ego-led action to Tao-driven presence. So this chapter 17, isn't about governance. Okay, government is about how you lead your own life, your energy, your relationship. So let's suspend our belief about what power looks like. Let's explore what it means to lead without force, speak without access, and succeed without claiming credits. In chapter 17, Lao Tzu described 4 types of leadership. And the highest one is not the feared. I mean, not someone that people fear, not someone that people loved, but the one people barely even know is there. In Chinese, it's called 太上 leadership. 太上老君, the 太上, is 太上 leadership. So when everything flows like river, like water, the leader disappears. And that's the point. That is the highest form of leadership. That's like Tao. You know, nobody knows it's there. Can't even see it's there. Can't even feel, can't even touch. But it governs everything that we are living in the world we are living in. Okay? That's the highest form of leadership. And that's also called 道正合一. Governance so aligned with the Tao that it becomes invisible like water to fish. So the leader nourishes without interference and then guides without imposing. That is the highest level of leadership. Now look at Apple ecosystem. Millions of users experience smooth integration without ever seeing the complexity behind it. They even know how it works, but it works, right? Nobody cares, right? So that is a brand leadership through design, not dominance. Now imagine this applied to personal leadership. What if being a good parent, being a good manager, being a good life partner didn't mean being in control, but in harmony? So the question is, can you lead by letting go? And if you can do that, that's Tao at work. Darren said, after listen at module 2, it makes a more aha moment looking at 6 line of Qian Gua. Why you need to choose so-called disappear behind the sense of 6 line is even clearer. Explain how to better with guidance of the 6 line with Tao. Oh, thank you very much. I'm grateful you have this kind of aha moments. Okay, so yeah, like I say, I Ching, Tao Te Ching, both are describing the Tao. Of course, one is through the lens of Kong Fu Zi, and then one is from the lens of Lao Tzu, but both are talking about the same Tao. But I'm really glad you have this aha moment. Okay, so good job, So that's why Lao Tzu was later called 太上老君, not because he claimed power, but because he embodied the Tao, and others recognize it. And his work, Tao Te Ching, live on till today, many thousand years later. People are still reading, people are still subscribing to it. So let's do a quick reality check. In your life, whether at work, in family, or even on social media, how often do we seek validation? Like we want to be appreciated, we want to be praised, we want to be liked, we want to be acknowledged. And when someone leads well, we say, wow, they are amazing. Now, that is what Lao Tzu called the second best kind of leadership. Okay, so when people say that, oh, you are a very good leader, at most you are second best kind of leadership only. Okay, the people love and praise them. Huh? So Lao Tzu says that's not the highest form. The highest form is Tai Sang leadership. Why? You can see a lot of people out there, a lot of leaders out there who does need praise, recognition. Because the moment you need praise or you need a Nobel Peace Prize, you have already created emotional depth. There'll be leaders that say, I've helped broker a peace deal. Now you should thank me. Now you should award me with a Nobel Peace Prize. Huh. Is that highest form of leadership? No. How to say no? Definitely no. Okay. But this is exactly how society have been training us. So Lao Tzu offers a mindset breaker. True harmony doesn't need praise. True leadership doesn't need praise. True alignment doesn't require gratitude. Look at open source communities like Linux or Wikipedia. People contribute without asking for recognition. No medals to talk about, no speeches, just a shared purpose. And that's Tao in action. Now, let's talk about the third level leadership Lao Tzu mentioned. 其志谓之 means the ruler that people fear. So this sounds a lot like a authoritarian, dictator, legalism, or strict law enforcement, something that we see very, more and more everywhere recently. We have ICE agent, in America, going around catching people, killing people. Now we live in a world obsessed with the rule of law. You break the law, punishment follow. Sounds fair and just, right? But Lao Tzu gently shakes our assumption here. He hints that ruling by fear, making people obey out of dread and fear, is not the ideal. It's cohesion, okay? Not harmony. Now look at the recent politics. Take Donald Trump, for example. Now I love to bring it up, and I'm very grateful for him to show up. Why? Because of his behavior, because of his all those decisions, that makes Dao De Jing now more and more relevant. That's where I'm able to use examples to go and showcase why Dao De Jing is so relevant and so important today, more than ever. His leadership style triggered fear in many, both supporters and opponents. Allies or not allies, all of them fear his leadership. Laws were weaponized to his advantage. Protests escalated, yes, trust eroded. So the fear-based approach led to division, led to unrest, led to a lot of uncertainty. Now, Lao Tzu remind us, if fear is the glue that holds the society together, then it is a very brittle glue, easily broken, easily cracked. Today, many nations worship the rule of law like a god, forgetting that, 道正合一, okay? I mean, governance aligned with the Tao offers a deeper, more balanced vision. Now we come to the harshest reality Lao Tzu describes. 其智辱之, okay? The ruler who is despised and mocked by the people. This is the lowest form of leadership. Now, why does this happen? Because the more the people try, not the people, the government try to suppress, the more chaos erupt. The more pressure the people face, the more they resist. And when people no longer fear death, protests will explode. And then social order will break down. And then soon we have civil war. Turn on your news today, or turn on your Facebook and see what do you see? You see all these unrest. And who govern them? Not the highest form of leadership, definitely. Western democracy, often hailed as the pinnacle of freedom, right? For many years and decades. But today, they are divided with protest, with anger, with mutual disdain between government and citizens. Leaders are insulted, leaders are undermined and disrespected. A breakdown of what Confucius called 君不君,臣不臣, meaning the ruler is not the ruler, the subject is not subject. We are told this is freedom and openness. We are told, right? But Lao Tzu warned us, this is Tiao Ming politics, unruly, rebellious citizen, or even Bao Ming politics. That means the mob rule. Is chaos disguised as liberty? Wow, how sad. Look at many Western countries now, governments struggling to govern, societies divided, legitimacy questioned. Lao Tzu insights is very timeless. The worse the leadership, the more disorder, the more disrespect, and the more rebellion will follow. And we are seeing what's happening right now, right? Around the world you are in. Let's talk about something uncomfortable here, trust. Lao Tzu said it plainly. If you're not trustworthy, they will not trust you. It's not about title, it's not about power, it's not about charisma, it's about integrity. Think of recent history. When leaders say one thing and do another, people will notice. Can you think of any examples? Can be, your own bosses and things like that, or you being your boss, you say something, you do something. Now, look at recent political shift worldwide. Take the UK, where promises around Brexit were made and broken. Many years back, when UK said they want to exit from the EU, and they made promises to their own people, but all these promises, 5 big Brexit promises, and what they got? Nothing. Okay, what follow? Okay, um, a tidal wave of public distrust, polarization, conspiracy theories, and complete disbelief in institution. And even closer to Asia, think of the outrage when pandemics policies were flipped roti prata overnight without transparent communication. So trust was lost not because of the change. Trust was lost because of the lack of honesty and transparency. So leadership isn't about being obeyed, it's about being believed. Because when the leader embodies trust, the people don't need to be persuaded. They will follow naturally. Just like the Tao. Very silent, but powerful. All right. So we can tie this in with hexagram 61, 中福广, trustworthy. Okay. So this image is very powerful. Win over leg, invisible influence that moves deeply. It doesn't command, it doesn't control, it resonates. 中福 isn't about shouting a truth. It's about being so internally aligned that others feel safe to trust you without words. If you need others to trust you, but your words and energy are not aligned, you will always meet resistance. You can look around. Whether it's public figures who say one thing and do another, or people who preach positivity but carry bitterness, no, we can feel it. We can feel it. Or because the energy emitted out by that person, we can really feel it. So Lao Tzu and I Ching agree that real trust starts with presence, not persuasion. That's why Zhongfu is so quiet yet unshakable. When you live your truth with sincerity, no mask, no manipulation, people can sense it and they will naturally align with you. So trust doesn't start outside. It begins from within. It's called 中孚. So let me move on. So let me ask you something uncomfortable. Do you always need people to know you are the one who make it happen? You are the one that completed this project. You're the one who bring in millions for the company. That you led the team, that you closed the deal, that you saved the day. Now, Lao Tzu drop a reality bomb in this chapter 17. You say, 功成事遂,百姓皆为我自然. The best leader accomplishes things without the people even realizing he was the cause. I'll give you an example. Think about Lee Kuan Yew. He wasn't flashy. He didn't parade achievement. Look at his house. Very plain, simple. He didn't need endless campaign or self-praise. Can say that he's the one that founded Singapore, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Without him, Singapore will fail, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't do that. He simply designed systems, he aligned energies, and then he let the results speak for themselves. Today, Singaporeans enjoy world-class infrastructure, world-class safety, world-class global respect, and many just say, that's how Singapore is, very well endowed. But was Singapore really natural and well endowed? No. But it was 功成事遂. That means the work was done. And done so well that it become invisible. It become taken for granted. Now, Lao Tzu called this the Tao style. That means the Tai Sang leadership. Not by control, not by force, not a bit of force for Singapore. Yeah, but not totally by force until you must send in the ICE agent, like America, to enforce certain regulation. But alignment, quiet precision, and deep trust in the process. And Lee Kuan Yew mastered the art. Darren say in the corporate way, in the corporate world, need to loud, then how we work towards it. They want to be loud, let them be loud. Who wants to be loud, let them be loud. Until they realize that they are on the wrong path, then they will change. Anyway, since that now that we know Tao, right, there is always a return. What goes up must comes down, right? Can you see now the world is going on the way to return already? So here's the mindset shift. In the past, people will say leaders must be seen, must be heard, must be praised. Now, here's the Lao Tzu's belief. True leader work so effectively that their presence become unnecessary, yet their legacy lives on. Okay, so the loudest leader is not the strongest, not necessarily the strongest, but the one that is most aligned with Tao and whose hand is invisible. 自然, I'm not sure there's this word called naturalness, but I'm just randomly using this word to describe 自然, naturalness. And Lao Tzu said naturalness is the highest wisdom there is. And there are three kinds of naturalness. There are three kinds of 自然. The first one is the natural rhythm of nature, meaning, how nature behaves, there's a natural rhythm. And that's the first kind of 自然. And then the second kind of 自然 is our inborn human nature. All of us have some human nature, some instinct that is very natural. Okay, so there's a second form. Then the third form is the man-made actions that flow with nature's law. They mean deliberate one. This is deliberate. So let me break it down with a modern lens. Number one, when we talk about the natural rhythm of nature, look at seasons. 春夏秋冬, spring, summer, autumn, winter. You can't force winter when it's spring. You can't force spring when it's in winter. So trying to succeed before your time will only bring you burnout. So stop thinking that you're always behind time, you're always behind others. No, you should start telling yourself, I'm in season, I'm in my season, and my season will come. Okay, will always come. Right? So I just have to go with the flow and wait for the season to arrive. Now, the second naturalness is the human nature. Okay, so desire, like I said, desire, we talk about desire. Desire is not shameful. It's human nature to have desires, like wanting love, wanting food, wanting beauty, wanting rest. Is all very natural. Now, some Western religion will tell you, oh, you have desire, that is bad. That's guilt. You have to suppress it. But the Eastern thinking, Lao Tzu thinking is that, no, it's very natural to have desires. So don't need to suppress it. Just that you should not overindulge. That's all. Just let it flow. Right? So the mindset about I must control every feeling, just recognize it that my feelings are part of my nature. I'm sad, I'm sad. I'm happy, I'm happy. I'm mad, I'm mad. But just don't go overboard with your feelings. So you just have to listen to your feeling and then flow with them. And then the third kind is the man-made action. Man-made action. So basically, man-made action means doing without forcing. Wu Wei is actually the third form of naturalness. So Lao Tzu's Wu Wei doesn't mean do nothing. It means do only what doesn't fight the Tao. So look at the examples. Some examples just now also mentioned like ChatGPT, AI, and some of those automation technologies. You know, tech isn't forcing people to change. It's evolving naturally with our needs. Look at how remote work, online coaching, AI tools have risen into the scene. They didn't come from law or regulation or pressure. They rose because they flow with what people truly wanted. That's like digital payment. Government have been forcing digital payment, but it didn't come into popularity until COVID hits, whereby bopian, no choice. Everybody got to go and adapt and start using digital payment. So Lao Tzu called these human-made systems in harmony with nature's unfolding, Wu Wei. So the old belief of saying, if I don't grind, if I don't suffer, I don't deserve the success. Now here's the new belief. If I align with nature, if I'm aligned with the timing, align with the desire, and align with the action, success will flow effortlessly. So next time you feel the pressure to make it happen, ask yourself, am I forcing it or am I flowing with the Tao? That's why whether it's in I Ching or in Tao Te Ching, it always say 时也命也, meaning timing is everything. Okay, so there's a power of 自然. That's what it means to live the Tao way. Clear? Okay, so with this, I end this module here, and let's move on to the next module 3. We're going to go into chapter 18.